part of class. So the help sheet, here's the thing we have to keep track of on the help sheet. Simple interest versus compound. And then we're going to use what we were doing yesterday with the project to kind of bring that home in the quiz preview as well. This first part is all about simple interest. If you don't see the word compounded anywhere with something, we assume it's simple interest. So this is my regular formula for that. However, it doesn't mean that every time we're just trying to find interest. Bless you. I can use this to find the principal or the rate or the time. There's always going to be one variable missing, and we'll see that here as well. Or if you're asked for the total value of a loan, what we're going to end up doing is taking the interest you calculated here and then adding how much you started with. And we're going to see several of those as well. So we'll get an example in there, or maybe we'll just kind of work with it. We'll kind of see. And then at the bottom of the help sheet, again, that we were kind of looking at yesterday, that one talks specifically about compound interest. Okay? If you don't see the word compound, we don't assume that. And so we can find the total value in one step instead of two. Or we can find the interest if we know the total value and subtract the principal. So what I want to do, and we might actually steal this straight from the other piece, is we're going to go to the Unit 2 review to kind of help us with this a bit. And so let me jot one more thing down here real quick. All right. So the preview that you picked up, I want to start here. This kind of gets us all to the exact same place. And so use the help sheet to kind of work through. I'm going to let you, unless you decide at the end you want me to kind of jump in, any place where it says simple interest, you could literally take that problem and put it on your help sheet, because we won't use the review on the quiz. Because that's a little too similar to what the quiz is going to be. So, for instance, when we're looking back at some of this stuff, simple interest, okay, formulas here. When you're reading these questions, you want to probably go towards the end first to see, okay, what am I looking for? How much interest? What's the total value? The blanks kind of help too. So we'll start with a basic, but then I want to kind of jump in and be specific with a few of the weird ones. So when you have to make that adjustment, it doesn't kind of put you into shock. So here, okay, how much interest did I earn? So to do this, I need to know these three things. So let's see here. I got principal. Okay. My rate is taking that number and dividing it by 100. So my rate would be 0.04. I can't use 4. 4 would be 400%. That'd be crazy interest. And then my time is always going to be in years. And if it's not, I have to make that adjustment. We saw that yesterday as we were working through some of the things on the scavenger hunt. So, do I have everything I need? I got P, I got R, I got T. Yes, I do. So my interest is principal times rate times time. Oops, let me get out of there. That is not what I need. Okay, so my interest is $140. Okay, I earned $140. That's cool. More money in my pocket. The total value then, if I bust out my help sheet for a minute here, the total value is the interest plus the principal. So, total value is the interest I just found plus the amount I started with. You see why it might be good for me to label this stuff as I go, so it's easy to find. Okay? So, as we've said before, interest can be good, like it is here. It's coming into our pocket. However, interest can also be bad. So, let's go down a little further. Let's go down to number 3, because it has a couple of twists that I was talking about. So, Jennifer's borrowing. All right, let's see what we got. Borrowing $3,500, P, from her parents to buy a used car. She has to pay them back, in 30 months. Be careful. Time is always in years. So if that's true, if it's in months, divide it by 12 to turn it into years. So 30 divided by 12. So this is 2.5 years is going to be my time. How much will she have paid back in total at the end? Okay, not just the interest. But it says simple right there. So we're still using that basic formula that we had before. We're still using I equals PRT. So interest equals principal times rate times time. So as long as I can set it up, the calculator is going to do all the tough work for me here. Now see, that would have been bad. If I'd have done 0.2, wouldn't have wanted to pay my parents that much. Okay, so $175 of interest, but that's not what the question asked. It didn't say what's the interest. It said the total paid, the total value. So the interest plus what I borrowed originally. So at the end, Jennifer paid back $36.75. That's the type of adjustment, little things like adjusting months into years that you're going to have to be aware of, because it's not just interest, okay, every time that we're going to be looking for. And so as we get a little deeper, I'm not going to go too crazy because, like I said, I got a video of this whole thing posted if you wanted to see a walkthrough of every problem. Let's see. Let's do those two and that one. Okay. Just to kind of get you started here again, because like I said, this is more like the quiz it's going to be. So, we keep looking. You're like, Hardy, it's still simple interest. What the heck? But again, the world is changing. So it's still simple. Still I equals PRT. Rate divided by 100. Let the calculator be your buddy. 8 years. Okay, years. There's my time. I'm good. Now, if Nathan paid $880 in interest, what was the principal? So P is what I'm going to be looking for. So if I start plugging this into my regular formula, I have I this time. I do not have P. And I have my rate. And I have my time. So it's not just going to be as simple this time as just multiplying all three numbers together and calling it good. We got some basic algebra 1 we got to play here. So if I've got that 0.44 times my P, and we're good algebra 1 students. So we've got that our principal, or the amount of money that we started with, is going to be $2,000. Same formula, different numbers plugging in for me to solve for the answer. So that's what I want you to mainly be ready for on simple interest. Be ready to adjust slightly. You may have one step that you have to do, but it shouldn't be anything too bad. Now, when you get to part 2, I was nice. I separated them into parts. I did the same thing on the quiz. When you get to part 2 at the bottom of this page, with compound interest, now, maybe, There we go. Okay, now we've got new formulas to play with. The total value one is the straight one I can just plug in. I mean, I'll do one of them. Well, I'm not going to go crazy here. Again, I'd keep labeling stuff. So what is the total value of an investment of $3,300? There's my principal. Ooh, 12% interest rate. Let's go. Divide by 100 for 5 years. So I'm looking. I'm like, okay, total value. Do I have P? Yes. Do I have R? Yes. Do I have T? Yes. Should be good. Total value. Principal. 1 plus my rate. And the T is an exponent. It's not times 5. Wouldn't be compounding if it was just times 5. And again, since we're talking about money, we're going to go to the nearest cent and get that value. So just keep reminding yourself on these. You've got the formula right there. The question is going to be, okay, which thing am I looking for? So do we have any weird ones on this? Oh, we might. Hang on a minute. Interest earned. Interest earned. Yep, that's going to be the last one I'm going to do. Number 10. Ooh, wait. No, that one looks crazier. Let's do... I'm just pondering for a moment here. Yeah, let's do 10. Let's do 10. Okay. What's the interest earned on a bond fund where it was deposited earning a 3.5% interest rate for 10 years? Now, again, here I need to say an oopsie on Hardy's part. I needed to have the word compounding in here because it's in the compounding area. So we're gonna pop this in here for a minute. Compounding interest rate. So here I was even nice and said there's the formula that you're using because we've got that on here. So let's see what we got. Principal, divide that by 100, rate, time. I got all the stuff I need. This is going to be a two-step process, though, because I need to find the total value first. So let's plug into this first one. It's going to be a two-stepper. 5,000. 1 plus my rate. Time. All right, let's see. So my total value. Now, again, this is not the answer, so we're not putting this in the blank. Okay, that's the total value of the loan upon it being finished. Excuse me, the earnings on this. This is not a loan, this is a bond fund. Okay, so to get the interest, I just use the formula below it. So 7,052.99 minus the principal that I started with. And that answer will be the amount of interest that was earned over that time period. So that's what we're looking at as far as these go. And again, answer keys on Classroom right on the front page on the stream. And so is the video if you wanted to roll through some more of those. So this is kind of an outline of the quiz. The quiz itself is a little shorter. Not a lot, but a little bit. But again, with the help sheet, I think you're good. And if you want to, I've got space on here. If you want to take one of the problems on here and just put it in as a physical example, you could. That's up to you. That's your option. The other thing I wanted to mention, because I was getting some good questions yesterday, when we were working through the different things as far as our scavenger hunt went. The big thing with that, and I told people, even if you just wanted to go in order and use this to check your answers, you could. I've got the answers for the people. I'd still need to see work for you to get credit on the front of Classroom. It was our way to be able to kind of check as we go. So just a sec here. So if you were needing, there's all the stuff quiz preview. And then there's the answers by people's name on these. So even if you were just saying, okay, Hardy, I don't like this little game where I'm looking all over, even though it does give me answers that way. What I'm going to want to do, and again, I'm just going to grab a couple, and then if people want me to give some more help on things, I will. But let's just say this is the one I happen to be working on. And so on your answer sheet, I was going to say I don't have it in front of me. Yes, I do. Because you've got these on Classroom or around the room. So for this one, for instance, we've got Mallory. So I'm just going to put Mallory's name here so I know what I'm doing. So an ending balance of $11,917.50 on a $10,000 investment, simple interest. So I know how I can do this. I'm going to do my work this way. So I'm like, simple interest, it's just interest equals principal times rate times time. So let's see what we got. Ending balance of this. You're like, okay, I don't know about that one, Hardy. That's all right. Let's see what we got here. $10,500 investment. There's my principal. 4.5%. There's my rate. How long? Okay, we need to find time. So you're like, well, wait a minute though. So how am I supposed to figure out how long? I know the principal. I know the rate. I don't know the time. They didn't tell me the interest. So let's dig a little deeper. If this is what I ended with, okay, the ending balance, that's your interest plus your principal. Well, I know what the principal is. So if I know the principal and I know how much I had at the end, this is kind of what I'd be, oh geez, that is so smashed. Let's fix that. So in my work column, here's what I'm doing. I've got this. This is what I'd start with. Let me grab my calculator's hiding under papers. So it's not always going to be directly in front of you. So now I've got the interest. 14, 17, 50. So now the only missing variable is t. So we can multiply. Little bit of algebra 1, just a little bit. Because again, I want to get t alone. I'm multiplying it by this decimal. So let's see what we get here. Now, here's the last kicker. When you're doing your formula, remember, your time is in years. But what's the question asking? It's asking months. So there's 12 months in a year. Okay, so this is what I'd be looking for in the work column. And if you want to pick out questions by looking around for the correct answer next, you can do that, okay? In any order is fine. I just suggest putting the name in with it. So as you're going along and you get your answer. Now, again, if you turn in your sheet just like this, yeah, that's not going to work real well. I want to see where you're getting the answer from. And if you want to look through all the pages to find the next answer and go, you can. If you're like, no, I really don't want to do that. I'm good. Okay. So let me find, I want to find, there's one specific one I wanted to do because we didn't see that yesterday and I wanted to make sure. There we go. We're going to come up to DeMarcus here. So on mine, instead of following that, I'm going to do DeMarcus next. Then I'm going to kind of jump in and help people. So 2 options for his inheritance is $7,500. This principal. You can either do simple or compound interest. How much will he make by doing the right option? Okay. So let's break this down. I'm going to split this. So this again would be what you're looking at in your box. 36 months you need turned into years to put into your, whoops, Freudian slip. So let's see. This is simple interest. So we're going to start with simple interest. So 3 years is my T. 4 3/4%. You're like, Hardy, how do I mess with that? 3 divided by 4 is 0.75. So 4.75 divided by 100 is going to get me my rate. So my rate is 0.0475. Why did I feel the need to write that small? I don't know. And my principal is 7,500. This is where, as you practice with these, and you keep trying this stuff, now that's not the total. I mean, my gosh, that'd be terrible for DeMarcus. He started with 7,500 and he ended up with 1,000. Whew, that's a bad investment because that's just the interest. To get the total value, I'd add that back to the 7,500. Okay, so there's my simple. Now, is the compound going to be better? Let's see. Compound side. So, same principle, but now I'm going to be using my compound interest formula. So, my principal is 7,500. My rate, do I have a rate? 4%, 0.04. And my time, 3.5 years. So that's my T, 3.5. So let's see, 7,500, 1 plus 0.04. To the 3.5. So we end up with 8,603.56. But what's the question? How much will he make by choosing the best option, which of course is the one that makes more money? So 8603.56 minus 8568.75. Woo! The whopping 3481 would be our solution. So again, not as straightforward in these as it was like in the ones for the quiz preview. So here's what we'll do. I'm going to pause